and found out that these CFCs actually cause so much harm to our ozone.
Why really are we so cautious about this ozone layer?
The main theme of World Ozone Day is to keep ourselves aware and the ones around us of what's going on around the world.
Do have a lot of consumption of these, have actually have ratified the Kigali Amendment. Hello and welcome. I am Ashwin from Olive Suno Radio Network. Today is the International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer, or commonly known as the World Ozone Day. What is it? Why is it important? How does it affect you and I? And what can we do about it? To tell us more about it, we have a few brilliant young minds here with us.
Hello everyone, my name is Sheza Fatima. I'm from MES Indian School studying in grade 12.
Hello everyone, I'm Hana Fatima. I'm in MES Indian School. I'm a biopsychology student studying in 12th grade.
Hello everyone, my name is Rohan Nair and I'm 11th grader from MES Indian School and I have selected Commerce as my stream. Nice to meet you.
Hi everyone, my name is Shraddha Sriraj and we represent Noble International School. I am in grade 11 right now, currently in the science stream.
Hello everyone, my name is Jasna Verghese, representing Noble International School, and I am a 12th grader.
Hello everyone, I'm Mohammed Saad. I'm from grade 12 and we are representing Noble International School.
Hello everyone, my name is Sean Matthew. I'm currently studying in Podar Pearl School and I'm currently studying in class 11 as part of the commerce stream.
Good day all, I'm Andrea doing grade 12 in Porapal School.
Greetings, my name is Laika. I am from Spoda Pearl School, Meshav campus. I am currently studying in class 10.
So thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out from your busy schedule to share your knowledge with our viewers. So one by one, let's go around the room and get your insights on, first of all, what is ozone? Let's start from there. What's ozone? And then what is the ozone layer? And why is it important? Why is it getting depleted? And what's currently being done about it? Yeah. So let's start from Sheza.
The ozone layer actually acts as a sunscreen for our Earth's surface. It filters out the harmful UV radiations, ultraviolet radiations. It is actually a thin shield of gas with a high concentration of O3 molecules, ozone molecules.
And right now what's happening is that the Earth's sunscreen is getting depleted. Hence, you have to wear sunscreen. Our Earth is made up of tons of layers. We have like 5-6 layers, and the ozone layer comes in the stratosphere. We'll be getting in detail about it later on in the discussion. We're going to be talking about the ozone layer, wearing sunscreen, the Montreal Protocol, the Kigali Amendment, and lots of other things.
Just as oxygen has 2 molecules, the ozone layer, as she said, has 3 molecules of O, that's O3. Now what's happening is that right now we are knowingly or without knowing, we indulge in activities that lead to the ozone being destroyed, and we're gonna get to that in some time. This whole discussion is aimed at getting at knowing more about how the ozone is being destroyed by us slowly but gradually.
To begin understanding the topic of today's discussion, we need to know what ozone is, what the ozone layer is, and why its depletion is a problem to us. Well, to start at the beginning, ozone, chemical compound O3, or trioxygen, is an inorganic molecule scattered across the atmosphere of the Earth. That is the science behind it. Well, if it is being depleted or its disappearance is a problem to us, why does it matter? Why is it relevant to us? To establish the ozone layer's importance, we have.
Now, one cool thing about the ozone layer is that, so it absorbs almost 98% of the UV radiations that reach the Earth. However, it only makes up about 0.00006% of our atmosphere. It's a very small amount. So small but mighty can be the term used to define ozone layer. Again, ozone layer has been around since beginning of time, but man didn't discover it until 1913. Now, when we talk about ozone destruction, it actually, the chemicals that destruct the ozone was actually a solution to another problem, which was previously, like 1920s around, in refrigerators they had toxic chemicals being used. In order to replace that is when the then hero CFCs came in place. Now, around 1970s is when scientists began researching and found out that these CFCs actually cause so much harm to our ozone. And as we all know, by May of 1985, we found out that there is a hole in our ozone, and hole is actually a sort of metaphor used by scientists. With ozone depletion, it's basically patches of ozone reducing in that area. We'll move on to what we have done currently and before to again protect our ozone.
And probably, Saad, you could expand on what CFC is and what. Whenever you're using any abbreviations, it'd be wonderful to actually expand it. As in you're mentioning, be it CFCs or HCFCs or even ODSs for that matter.
So CFCs have had a really massive impact on our ozone layer. Now, we often take CFCs to be the main cause of the depletion of ozone, but we have to realize that there are other chemicals such as halons and other chemicals which are also destroying our ozone layer. Now, what can we do about this? What have we done about this? Now, firstly, the main introduction of this was the Montreal Protocol, due to which we have severely declined the use of CFCs in our daily lives. There are also other amendments such as the London Amendment and the Kigali Amendment, which have also gradually, completely, almost eliminated the use of CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, and other really harmful gases and other chemicals to our stratosphere.
So what has been done about the ozone layer and the depletion of it? As was mentioned before, the Montreal Protocol in 1987 was adopted, and again, as was mentioned before, has severely restricted the use of ozone depleting substances. It was a culmination of almost a decade's effort by scientists to alert the world governments to the risks of ozone depleting substances, and has been a major milestone in limiting the use of these substances.
Like all the brilliant minds here have said before, the ozone layer plays a pivotal role in our life. And though it does seem to be like a toxic gas, this simple gas is indeed for life, and which we'll be discussing later on, and why this year's theme is ozone for life. And let's take a moment to think about it. Why really are we so cautious about this ozone layer? As already stated before, it protects us from the UV rays which affects us, our skin, our life, and literally every single living organism in this planet. If you don't protect it now, there won't be a world in the future.
So my friends here mentioned what is ozone, how it affects us, why it is important. But the real question lies, why should we care about the ozone? It's not like we went to the atmosphere and created a hole in it. Well, you see, the ozone has massive impacts on our skin. It can affect our DNA, which studies have shown leads to the formation of melanoma, which is the most fatal kind of skin cancer. Along with that, it can affect our immunity system as well.
So going by, this is an open question. Anyone could answer this. It's open to the entire forum. So going by whatever you've shared, and thank you so much for that, would it be right if anyone were to think that there is probably a correlation between the ozone layer depletion or the depletion of the ozone layer and global warming, which everyone's talking about, and climate change? So would anyone want to throw some light on that? Yes, please.
Well, actually, there is. Now, we need to talk about some history for this. Now, according to Montreal Protocol, we did ban CFC usage 2000 for the developed countries, 2010 for developing countries. Now, when we banned them, we obviously need an alternative for it.
Right.
And the alternative was HCFC, hydrochlorofluorocarbons, and HFCs, hydrofluorocarbons. Now, it is, well, towards more recent years is when they found that these hydrofluorocarbons that we used as an alternative has this immense effect on 14,800 times greater than carbon dioxide. So it is definitely a good, it's a correlation between, there is a correlation between our ozone depletion and global warming. At the end of the day, they both affect our earth and our environment.
And what's GWP again?
Oh, that's global warming potential. So they're, just as we have ODS, ozone depleting substances, GWP.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, so research shows that global warming and ozone depletion do in fact go hand in hand. For example, greenhouse gases such as, let's say, methane is CH4. So CH4, when it gets in the stratosphere, so basically the stratosphere is like the second layer of the atmosphere, like from here. The first layer is the troposphere, and then comes the stratosphere, and that is where the ozone layer is located. So when global warming happens, that is because of the accumulation of greenhouse gases. So methane is a greenhouse gas, and when these gases get in the stratosphere, they break down in the stratosphere where the ozone layer is located, and this will affect the chemistry of the formation of ozones. Meaning, when that happens, the formation of ozone O3 molecules gets affected. How they form is, so O2 molecules are first split by UV rays, and they form 2 oxygen atoms. And then one of these oxygen again reacts with another O2 molecules, forming 3 oxygen atoms, and that is ozone. But when methane and nitrogen oxides are present in this atmosphere, these again react with the oxygen molecules, leaving less to no oxygen to form more ozone molecules. Hence, global warming does affect ozone depletion.
Interesting. And I think stratosphere is the layer of the atmosphere where there's no air traffic, right? Now discuss about that. Why the theme of this year's International Day for the Preservation of Ozone is Ozone for Life, and probably we take it from there. We take the discussion from there.
So I guess now we're all aware that the theme is ozone for life, and it pretty much is a simple statement. And if we can't possibly derive more information from it, it's like without ozone, life on Earth is pretty much impossible, because these UV rays harm us, not just us humans, but even the small plants to the marine system in the ocean. Now think about a world in the future where there are no sharks or fishes. How will our future generation know that such things or such living beings exist? Now when we go to museums, we look at dinosaur bones and be like, wow, this was a world at that time. Now we don't want to have our generation look and be shocked like, why didn't I never got to see a fish, or why didn't I get to protect a green turtle from extinction? So all these kind of thoughts. So I guess the simple theme, ozone for life, clearly motivates us as students to step up and make different awareness programs to promote all our juniors as well as our families who are linked through us.
Great. Also, I'd like each one of you to point out about what activities are happening for this day at your respective school. So probably one person from each, representing each school, could talk about it.
As we all have heard since like the beginning of our education, plant trees. Like, the impact it has on our environment is not small. If each of us plant a tree, that is huge. Okay, we had a couple months ago, we had a Go Green campaign at our school where we were planting trees. This is our 50th Golden Jubilee year, so we have a couple of objectives and new values that we are planning to incorporate into the students. This also comes with the Golden Expo, which is basically a science fair. We have all sorts of clubs. We have environment club, science club, psychology club, which delves into like the mental health of people. So in these, students just come up with, every student interested comes up with science experiments which would help the environment in this case. And we have seminars, and whenever such a day comes up, we hold placards, we walk around the school spreading awareness, and I think the best thing that a student can do is educate and advocate.
Alright, so far we've heard some great statistics, a lot of knowledge, a lot of technical terms from our great minds here. But now let's get real. The main theme of World Ozone Day is to keep ourselves aware and the ones around us of what's going on around the world. And the first thing and the best thing that we can do ourselves is to take accountability. Because let's face it, directly or indirectly, it's us humans who are to blame for the current situation at hand. At the ancient times, we never had this problem. Have you ever seen your forefathers? Maybe, of course, you have not seen your forefathers, definitely. But the world has survived for millions of years, and at that time, they definitely didn't have this problem. Only in the last few decades have we faced this problem. So, let me start by saying that our industrial activities, like most of them, starting from vehicles on the road, then large tankers at the sea, when they start to leak, they start burning for days and nights, continuously emitting emissions, which cause a lot of headache for the environment, I'd say. But this is only talking about land and sea. And as the flights, the planes emit a lot of these emissions. And so from all three corners, all three elements of pollution, we are damaging the environment continuously. But these are things that we can't control. We can't just say that we need to stop all cars. That doesn't work. We can't just go back to bullock carts or something like
No,
that.
or buy Teslas or BYDs.
Yeah, that is the future. That is definitely something that we must work on. Not me. I mean, Elon Musk should work on.
Oh, he is. I'm sure he is. Our good friend is.
But even on the household level, we all have a small part to play in this. For example, we use cleaning products that use CFCs. Yes, CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, and also air conditioners. Now, during summers, it's an unavoidable thing. You need air conditioners, but what can you do about it? It's a necessity nowadays.
Thank you. That's a very valid point.
As a student from Poda Pearl School, I'm proud to say that our school has done multiple things to bring awareness about the environment and especially the preservation of ozone to the students. This includes programs like debates, essays, slogan writing competitions, art-related drawing competitions, and we have eco clubs in our school. Along with that, certain classes of our school have a little bio corner in our class. That is, next to the windows we keep small plants just to bring a bit of light and life into our classes. So that is something that I think should be appreciated, and other schools should do it as well.
So, talking on this year's theme, Ozone for Life, food and water are the basic necessities of our life, as we know, and ozone layer depletion can actually affect our food chain, because it can affect in a terrestrial level and aquatic level. Speaking on the terrestrial level, it can affect the ability to synthesize food for the plants, that is, photosynthesis ability of the plants. It can severely affect that ability, and of course it can affect all our lives. It can affect our food chain. Also, it can affect the aquatic environment. Phytoplanktons are the basic or foundation layer of food chain. So if it affects the phytoplanktons, then all our lives would be, in danger.
On a more lighter note, Shazza, you mentioned basic necessities of life as food and water. You missed out Wi-Fi.
I should have said.
Following the United Nations Environmental Program, the students of grade 11 and 12 in our school hold a sort of a conference where we discuss and find solutions to issues related to most of the world's environmental problems, and even to the Ozone Day or World Ozone Day as we know it. Other than that, we also have competitions in our school, such as essay writing competitions and drawing competitions, where students of younger classes participate wholeheartedly, and they also, in one way get involved and find solutions by themselves and see the impacts this is having on us and our entire life. And we also have educational clubs such as a science club and environmental clubs. These clubs also come together once every week to discuss solutions, and they also do some stuff for our school, like planting trees and spreading awareness against younger students who might not have that much exposure to these events or solutions.
So basically making the planet more greener as with each passing day, right? And I think nations, governments all over the world, and even a lot of foundations all over the world have been going for tree plantation programs and soil management programs and programs to preserve the health of the soil. I think going to all the way to the roots, right? So now let's perhaps summarize from whatever we've discussed over here, whatever each one of you has shared. And once again, thank you so very much for sharing whatever you've shared so far. Let's go around once again and probably summarize one point from each one of you, one point that everyone watching us and listening to us can take away from. So let's start from here for now.
So one thing we learned today is the ozone layer. It is just a small fraction of the atmosphere, but it has a mighty effect, and that is why we must preserve it.
By preserving the ozone, we sure can take one thing away, which was rightly said by one of our minds here, that we must educate and advocate seriously. We must protect our environment by helping others, by taking a bit more steps, by telling them on what they can contribute, and also putting in an effort on our side on how we can change our life, and so that others can take us as an example and follow the same.
So as Rohan said before, we must embrace greener alternatives to ozone depleting substances, and as part of the wider environmental movement too, we should be embracing greener alternatives. That is what Rohan said before, but I would like to add something to it. As part of altering our consumption patterns, we must also urge a rethink on production patterns. We should act as individuals and as communities to make sure that these greener alternatives are cheaper, more affordable, and accessible to the wider population.
Well said.
Since the olden days, we have been quite successful in preventing the depletion of ozone. Like, if you currently look at our ozone depletion rates, it's about 4 to 6% globally. Now, if you think, like, what if we didn't act upon this? What if there was no Montreal Protocol? What if there was nothing that was stopping us from using CFCs? Well, if you look at that current situation, the current ozone depletion rates would be somewhere around 17% to 20%, which is really, really, really bad for us. So ozone depletion is obviously, and it really is a really successful story of environmental policy and protection, but it is still an ongoing issue. It is still 4 to 6%. It is our duty to reduce it to 0% for the upcoming generations and for our future.
So, Saad, at this point in time, I'd like to point out that the Montreal Protocol is by far the most successful multilateral agreement.
Yes, additionally, I'd like to emphasize on that the countries around the world were so focused on this prevailing issue that they were able to synthesize the world's most successful environmental program. The Montreal Protocol, initiated at Quebec, Canada, has been the most effective and the most successful environmental program enacted by the United Nations, with participation from every single country on the planet. We have been successfully able to reduce our emissions of chlorofluorocarbons and reduce our carbon footprint, and also reach our goal of fixing and repairing the ozone layer 30 years earlier than what we were supposed to. We were supposed to reach our goal at 2075, but we will be safe by 2045, which is a great achievement for humanity overall.
Absolutely. I think the Montreal Protocol was signed in the year 1987, right?
Yes.
And the first ozone hole was discovered in the year 1980. 85 it was discovered.
It was in 1980s, so.
80s.
Adding more to what my peer said,
Yeah.
it's been regarded as the first universally ratified treaty. So 198 member states, was basically all of UN, had signed this treaty. Even if you look at the most recent amendment, which is the Kigali Amendment, it has already been signed by about 160 of the member states, which is, again, that amendment is also a very impactful one, as they plan to reduce the HFC consumption by 80 to 85% globally. Now, we, again, very successful in our ozone depletion story. It is estimated that by 2066, we know that Antarctica is the most affected region. It's estimated that by 2066, Antarctica is going to go back to how it was in 1980, 2040 in the mid-latitude areas, and 2045 in the Arctic. So I think in all of humanity history, this is definitely a very momentous achievement. And yes.
And it would be again good to add that countries including USA, China and India, which do have a lot of consumption of these, have actually have ratified the Kigali Amendment,
Actually,
which means that they have decided to take steps for it. Yeah.
There in India and China, they actually, to replace HFCs and ACs, they use hydrocarbons instead. So I think that's a very great step taken by these big countries who would usually have large consumption
Higher
rates.
consumption, yeah.
Adding to that, to decrease the use of HFCs, our scientists have been developing something called hydrofluorofins. That is basically an alternative to HFCs that has lower global warming threats and can be used in refrigeration and air conditioning units. So it can be replaced and will have much lesser risks. So I'd like to conclude by saying that recognizing our responsibility is crucial here. And as said by my peers, the protocols like Montreal Protocol has been very successful. And it is an example that if the whole world works together, then it can make a great change. And the thing is, I know that much has been done in the past, a lot of damage has been done in the past. and that cannot be changed. But I also believe that the past is the past. All that we can do is look at the future, have a vision for the future, and act accordingly. Put in sustainable practices that will work and that will help for a greener future. Thank you.
There is a lot of myths going around about how sunscreen is bad for you, and some of the chemicals in it gets absorbed into the skin, and hence people refrain from wearing sunscreen, which I believe must be emphasized, because the UV rays, there's 3 types of UV rays. You have UVA, B, and C. So sunscreen protects you from B and C, which is the most dangerous ones, right? There are chemical and mineral sunscreens, and the chemical sunscreens is the ones that gets absorbed into the skin, which is not a bigger issue than skin cancer or melanoma, which is a worst case of skin cancer. So I believe that mineral sunscreens is like the best choice for people who, you know, are concerned about the chemicals from chemical sunscreens getting into their skin, and I think you should all wear it because prevention is better than cure.
So for advice on which sunscreen to use, please contact.
She's opening a brand for sunscreen soon in the future.
She's pretty much endorsing this.
Okay, so ozone layer depletion can actually, to summarize, severely affect, it can have severe health effects, it can affect our ecosystem, basically everything. So I say that we should personally start taking our individual steps to address the issue. Thank you.
If we have learned anything from history, it is that we do not learn from it. The ozone hole above Antarctica at the time was personal to everyone because everyone was getting affected by UV rays. It was perceptible. They could see the satellite cameras recording the ozone hole. They could see it happening right before their eyes. It was not something that could possibly happen in the future, but it was happening right there and then. And they had a practical solution for it, hence they acted upon it at that time, which is saving us right now. So I believe that we should not wait for climate changes and global warming to put us in a situation where it is dangerous for us to just go outside. I mean, we've experienced lockdown once and we know we don't want to experience that again. So yes, the ozone is now healing, and hence we should all focus on every other environmental issue there is so that we do not let this happen to our world again.
Thank you, Anna.
Following the Montreal Protocol's call for action for 2024 Ozone for Life, let us understand where we stand in the world. The ozone protects us, and it is our duty to protect it. Our planet, our future. Let us be educated and educate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, everyone. So, ozone for life, right? Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Good job.